Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us. It's health this Tuesday, diagnosis and complications of diabetes. That's what we're talking about. Dr. Niran Onifade is here with us to talk about that this morning. Good morning. You are welcome.
I just use this.
Diabetes, that's something that you probably know, everybody knows somebody or someone in the family or someone that might have complications from that and all of that.
Very true.
Yeah, so we're talking about diagnosis and complications.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so let's start with diagnosis. How can it or how is it diagnosed?
Okay, so I think last week we briefly talked about what diabetes is and we defined this.
Okay.
And I'm sure almost all of us know what it is. That's when
Okay, very short recap. Let's do that for maybe someone who wasn't here.
That's when there is increase in the sugar content of your blood, in a layman's word. So I try to bring it home as
when there's increase in the sugar content of blood.
Of blood, yes.
Okay.
So that's layman definition of what diabetes is. So how do you diagnose it? Of course, since it's going to be the blood, you are going to need a blood sample. And the diagnosis of diabetes has been quite effective in Nigeria. So let's focus on Nigeria now. We have 3 ways of diagnosing diabetes in Nigeria. One is the fasting blood sugar. Fasting blood sugar. One is the random blood sugar. Then there's a third one that we call the glycosylated hemoglobin, HbA1c. Don't mind the big word, I'll break it down.
I can't not mind. Of course, I'll not mind.
So,
go ahead.
So the fasting blood sugar is just like a finger prick. Most people have this device at home that you can just use the needle to just prick your finger, then you put this tiny blood on the strip
sample,
and you check the blood level. So
the level of blood sugar.
So that can let you know either it is normal, either it is pre-diabetes or it's diabetes. So we'll be able to group and know what to do, provided we have the results.
All right, so in those 3 phases, if it's pre-diabetic, well, how do you find out and what can you do in that scenario?
If it is pre-diabetic, we can start by probably want to go to the next level to do a 2 hours postprandial. What does that mean? To check what the sugar level is going to be after eating. You know, fasting is you did not eat before we do it. So the 2 hours is eat, then after 2 hours, let's check what the sugar level is. So if we see, okay, that is your body able to undo it after eating, we might advise, okay, this is what you are going to do. Probably you need to start exercising. You probably might not start on drugs immediately. Watch the food you eat and all that. So we advise based on that level because we are not confirmed that you have diabetes already. So you can still use lifestyle modification to monitor that, and we monitor you again, probably check in 2 weeks, and we go with that.
All right. Now, I know that this is pre-diabetes, and we know there's diabetic and post. But now, let's talk about in environments like ours, where our staple food is a lot starch-based and carbohydrates, and of course, a lot of sugars come from this kind of foods. How can one not have it? I don't know. You get where I'm coming from now.
It's funny, and you know why I'm smiling? Because almost everybody believes when you eat sugary food and all that, that's when you have diabetes. And it's a misconception.
It's a misconception.
Yes.
All right, talk to us.
It can be from your protein, it can be from carbohydrates, it can be from any other. Because if you look at the conversion of this food, the bottom line is that all of them are still going to be converted one way to the other to sugar at the end of the day in your system.
What is with this sugar in this life?
So
even protein cells because still convert to sugar.
You need all of them. There's a particular percentage of sugar.
Oil.
All of them, there's a particular percentage.
Fish, we still convert.
All of them, there's a particular percentage. You know, the thing is this: you need sugar to be able to function because that's where the energy comes from. You get so the energy comes from all those things. Everything gets converted to that level, and your blood pick it up, circulates around your system, used by the brain, used by the eyes, and all that. So you need sugar to function. So it's not just the sugary food. That's why some people say, how can I have diabetes? Because I don't drink Coke, I don't do this. But you eat. All these things eventually. So the problem is not just the consumption of the food. It's because of, is your body producing enough insulin? Or is the insulin deficient and not effective to do what it's supposed to do? Which can be because of a lot of reasons. Probably the family history of diabetes in your family, or probably because of lifestyle that you have been living and all that. So those are the reasons to look into, not I don't take sugar. No, that's a misconception.
So now today you have cleared me on something now. So all my sucumbia fish and
but don't get it twisted.
I get where you're coming from now.
You know, when we want to do a diabetic diet, we are going to make sure that there's a lot of protein in it.
Okay.
But you reduce the carbohydrate content. But it doesn't mean you cannot eat all those things. But just proportion. There's a way proportion are being kept.
The proportion is being kept. So, so let's get to the diabetic stage now. Let's say you've done that test and then they already you are in the diabetic stage. What happens next? What can you do? Okay. What should you do?
So one of the things, okay, we are getting to treatments.
Yes.
I don't want us to go into treatment today.
Okay,
because this diabetes week month.
All right. So
we'll do November 14 is World Diabetes Day. So this whole month is going to, so we are going to get to treatment later.
Okay.
So let me run through the complication.
Okay, complications, let's go.
So
okay, let's
the
go
complication is one thing that we should know. I like to look at it from the head to toe when you want to talk about complication of these things because it affects virtually everywhere. So let's look at the head. You see a lot of people, they come in like coma, that my grandma has not been moving, she's not talking, she's smelling some kind of odor in the mouth. So they can have coma, we call it diabetic coma. And that can happen in two ways. Either the sugar level is too high or it is too low. If it is too high, we call it hyperglycemia. And that means the person has the sugar level and has not been monitored for a while. So they go into coma. They rush them into hospital. Some people think it's a stroke, but it's not really stroke per se, it's a coma. So, and some people, because they've been diagnosed as having diabetes in the past, probably they're on medication and they are taking so much of it, they now go into a level that the sugar level is too low. We call that one hypoglycemic coma. So those are two extremes. That's
too high or too low. It's not good, it has to be optimal.
Yes. Yes, so that's one of the complications. Another one that is very common in this environment has to do with the eyes, blindness. So a lot of people that you see that have cataract, glaucoma, or they cannot see again, it's because of diabetes. I know quite a lot of people that I don't want to take insulin, I don't want to take drugs and all. Before you know it, they've gone blind. They don't see anymore. So it is very, very common in this environment. So blindness is one of it. Deafness is part of it too. Dental issues is part of the problem too. Another very important one is heart issues. Heart issues is very common in people with diabetes because of what we call myocardial infarction and all that. When the blood level, when you have that, it's like a pipe. The piping system of the blood, there are now clots inside. It is not free to move. Just imagine a pipe that's like a conduit. It's not free. Bloods are not now moving the way it's supposed to move. No blood is not getting to the heart. Then you have what we call myocardial infarction. People can go into heart attack. Wow. And a whole lot of that.
Wow, wow, wow. This has been quite an enlightening one, an expose. There's so much to talk about this, but I know we'll pick up next week. We'll talk about treatment. And you said November 14th is World Diabetes Day and all of that. Okay, so we'll talk about this. Thank you so much, Doctor. This has been quite an enlightening one.
Thank
we'll
you.
Look forward to next week. All right. Okay, hope you're able to pick one or two things from there. It's not about your sugar doesn't have to be, it's not about only just high sugar, low sugar. It just has to be optimal. And it's not only EBA and pounded yam and fufu. No. You can eat fish and abacha also and still get diabetes. But the one we're going to give in the kitchen today is we're going to maintain it because, you know, it's not easy to borrow somebody money for car.